Now if I let this go, you can't tell nobody. I'm talking about nobody. Are you responsible? Oh, take care of your kids. Ooh, I gotta watch my back. Cause I'm not just anybody. Is it my goal? Or is it your goal? Sometimes I'm good at good. Right now I'm not. You hit the record button? You trying to embarrass me in my first episode. But let me tell you something. I can't get embarrassed. You wanna know why? Because they either too young to know that song or they too old to remember. So I'm safe. I I know I can't get embarrassed. So the joke is on you. What's good, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the My Unique Curiosity Podcast. I'm your unique host, Sean Hill, and I am very ecstatic today. Uh, I believe this occasion calls for me to get a round of applause. So, you know what? Let's do that. Let me go ahead and hit this button. 1 second, y'all. Let's do this. Okay, okay. Round of applause, baby, make that ass clap. Drop it to the floor, I'm joking. We ain't making no ass clap over here. Let's play the real thing. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, let's turn that off right now. Okay, so once again, thank you everybody for tuning in to the very first episode. Uh it's been a long journey to get to this point. I didn't think starting a visual podcast would be so difficult. There's a lot of tedious things and a learning curve in which I needed to acclimate myself towards, but we finally got it and we are finally here. So I'm very grateful to be now having copious amount of conversations with you ladies and gentlemen. And I'm even more grateful that you're spending your time listening to what I have to say. So let's get started. This very first episode is to determine for you whether or not my podcast is going to be of interest of yours or not. You'll be able to make that conclusion once you hear my goals, my objectives, and a few of the topics that will be discussed here on this podcast. But before we get into that, I'm pretty sure all of y'all are curious about something. Um, so why don't we go ahead and address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the monkey? So y'all pretty much probably asking, Sean, why does your grown self got a monkey on your wall? Well, let me tell y'all something real quick. This is not just a monkey. This is a very, very, very special monkey. This is the one, the only, the prominent, curious George. So I have to be 100% transparent with everybody. Mr. George here has been a major contributor to this podcast. Mr. George here has inspired me to live a curious lifestyle. For the past few months, I've been pondering upon whether or not I should even start a podcast or not, because some of my curiosities could be quite bizarre at times, and who knows if people will scrutinize me for them. But George told me, he said, Sean, listen, you can't control the opinions of other people. That is something you will never have influence over. You have to have the courage to be disliked. I didn't let anybody get in the way of my curiosities, and I don't want you to let anybody get in the way of yours. Just always remember, Sean, no matter what, I'm your biggest supporter. You see, when you have a huge advocate like George in your corner, you could do anything. You could do anything you want in this world. So thank you, George. And whoever doesn't like George, that means you don't like me. And if you don't like me and George, I'm going to tell you to just unsubscribe. You know, we're not going to tolerate that. Okay? So be on the lookout for George, because George is going to be making his live appearance on the next episode. So please be on the lookout for that. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about the goal of this podcast. The goal of this podcast is to show you, ladies and gentlemen, how intriguing it is to be curious. To not only show you how intriguing it is to be curious, but to also show you how vital it is in many aspects of your life as well. Now, if I could give a Sean's definition of what curiosity means, curiosity is the desire to understand. Fuck. You breaking my glass? You see, curiosity is the desire for you to understand what you know that you don't know, even though you know you should know. Now, I promise it makes sense. Just go back, listen to it one more time, and it'll make total sense. So there's a lot of things that we just don't care much about. And it's not until somebody else is successful at something that we tell ourselves, wow, I wish I can go back and back in time and go do that same thing and be successful too. So I feel curiosity is a skill, and it's something that is lost when we turn into adults. So we need to reinvigorate it. Now, I mentioned how vital curiosity is in many aspects of our lives, and I want to touch on two parts in our lives I feel it's very vital in. I feel it's vital in our financial gains, and it's also vital in our personal well being. So let's elaborate a little first on the financial gain. I'm going to mention something that everybody is familiar with. That is Bitcoin. Now, before you click off this video, please just hear me out with Bitcoin. You might learn something. I'm not gonna go into the particulars of Bitcoin and everything like that. I only need to explain to you why it was created in the first place. And before I'm able to even explain that, you got to know just a little bit about our financial monetary system. So, everybody knows that the US dollar is a fiat currency. It is a fiat currency that is enforced, it is issued, and it is backed by the government. Backed, meaning, let me give you another Sean's definition of what backed is. Backed is I owe you. I am the government. I am $31 trillion in debt, but please do not worry. I got you. Okay? That's what backed is. Now, the dollar used to be backed by gold, a commodity. But then these slick, conniving people got us off of the gold standard in 1971. And now we have a bunch of, don't worry, I owe you. Okay. What it is now is it is legal tender, which means another Sean definition. You take my ish. you take my not backed by nothing fiat currency that I believe it costs 8 cents to make $100 bill. 8 cents. So you take this or else. And one last thing y'all need to know is that every fiat currency in history has imploded. I'm gonna say that one more time. Every fiat currency in history has imploded. I'm gonna move on. So, because of a secret meeting on Jekyll's Island in Georgia in 1910, where there was politicians and bankers who conspired against us, y'all, to get a law passed to control the money supply. What was that law called? The Federal Reserve Act of 1913. And they got it signed days before Christmas. These sneaky, conniving people, when nobody paying attention, they get this law passed right before Christmas. Okay. And please listen to me, guys and ladies. I'm not making this up. This is true. You can go on Google, type in secret meeting on Jekyll's Island, and you will see all of this. There was 6 people. I believe it was just one of them by the name of Nelson Aldrich. He was elected by us, by the people. And he got together with 5 other people that are non-elected people that were actually representatives of the wealthiest families in the world. One of them being David Rockefeller. Okay. And in David Rockefeller's book, he has been bragging about him being an internationalist and conspiring against, you know what? So, you see this? David Rockefeller Memoirs. I want to tell you what he said real quick, but it just, I don't want to paraphrase this. I want you to hear this verbatimly, okay? Let me put on my David Rockefeller voice real quick. Hold on. You need to hear David Rock. I think this is probably what he might sound like. 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Let's do this. David Rockefeller voice.
Got y'all right now. I got y'all. Chapter 27. Proud Internationalist. Page 405. For more than a century, ideological extremists at either end of the political spectrum have seized upon well-publicized incidents, such as my encounter with Castro, to attack the Rockefeller family for their inordinate influence they claim we wield over the American political and economic institutions. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me, internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure of one world. If you will, if that's the charge, I stand guilty. And I am proud of it.
I'm sorry, y'all. I had to turn off the filter. The man said it. He has been conspiring with other elitists against everybody around the world globally. Now, listen, I'm not getting into all of that. You just wanted you to know a little bit about that. If you wanted to hear more, because all of them started to brag when they got this law acted on, which they've been working on conspiring against everything for centuries now. If you are interested, if you are curious enough to know more about this, about how the money system works and the history of everything and all of this, the citations of all the quotes and everything they said, you could check out this book right here. Hold on. This is an important book that I think should be in everybody's library. See that? This is The Creature from Jekyll's Island by G. Edward Griffin. Okay. If you want to listen to the audiobook, it's free on YouTube. Highly recommended. Okay, so let's move on. So now that they got total control now of the money supply, now they can get perpetual profits without sustaining any losses. Okay, because why? Because they could print money now at will. And when they print money at will, who you think gets first dibs at the money? Okay, who gets first dibs at the money? Guess what? They have a massive advantage. Okay, the first people first that get money, the dibs on the money, is them first, which is the wealthy families. All of them that don't never have to work ever again in their life. They get dibs first. Then they give it to big bankers. They also then give it to bureaucrats, which are government officials who are bought and paid for, and some institutions and stuff, some big businesses they give it to. Okay, so. Listen, y'all, they get a massive advantage in the market, okay? Because they get to go in the market first with the money and they get to buy up all the assets. Now all the prices start to rise, okay? When you and me now at the bottom of the totem pole, we now go and start to put our money into the market, everything's already high. Not only that, but we also have inflation because they keep printing money out of nowhere. So, and that's at the expense of us, okay? We got to pay the bulk of everything. And let me tell you something. This endless amount of printing, I got to give you another Sean definition, okay? All of this endless amount of printing is legalized sodomy, okay? That's what they doing to us. So, in 2008, everybody remembers the financial crisis where numerous banks and financial institutions across the world started to fail. Okay. And guess what? They get bailed out. They remember what I said earlier. I said they don't get no penalties. They do not sustain no losses. Okay. So now we get into Bitcoin. So in 2008, it was either a person or a group of people that just said enough is enough. Listen. We done had about 10 recessions since the implementation of the Federal Reserve. And they supposed to be helping us. But you're not. You're not even paying down the national debt. You're not paying the debt no more. Since the last time since the US had zero debt was 1837 when Andrew Jackson was president. Thank you, Andrew Jackson. You cared about your country. You really did. I appreciate you. Okay? So again, it was either this person or there was this group that went under the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, they were programmers, or he was a programmer, or she. Okay, they created Bitcoin, or she. They created Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is a technology that is decentralized. It's not controlled by any person, entity, or any central authority. Okay, you can't, it's not like fiat money. You could just keep printing Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually has a cap. There can only be 21 million Bitcoins that are ever created. It's ever going to be in the system. Okay, now we have something which we could protect ourselves from government interference. It was created for transparency. Okay, You got the blockchain, which is decentralized, and it's a ledger for all the transactions that are public for everyone to see. And you could see the ledger 24/7. It can't be altered. See, you would have to go to every single computer in order to change it, in order to alter it, and which is damn near impossible. So think about our central banks now, the central authorities of the US. We don't know where our tax money is going. You don't know where that thing going, whatever they tell us is going to. And they would never, ever let you see that ledger. I wonder why. Okay. So Bitcoin is a means of managing, it is a means of storing and sending your value all in one. There's no third party in a sense. Whereas with fiat currency, there's a third party in there. Like you need, in order to store your money somewhere, you need to store it in a bank. You need to store it in Chase and Bank of America. And you're going to have to either have a direct deposit in order to continuously use these banks, or you're going to have to have a set amount of money in that bank to avoid fees or just to even open up some certain accounts. So not everybody across the world has access to open up a bank. They don't have eligibility for that. But guess what? They could use Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? So now they have a means now, everybody, to manage, store, and send value. And you can transfer that money, that value over globally. And you don't have to do it. You don't need Western Union. And Western Union, all these, they're time restricted. Meaning you can't do it at certain hours and you got to wait a certain amount of time. But Bitcoin, that thing come to you in seconds. I send that thing in I send that thing in at 2 a.m. And that joint come to you in a few seconds. Okay. So one last time, Bitcoin is a means of managing. It is a mean of storing, and it is a means of sending value. And it is protected on the blockchain network. It's protected from inflation, and you don't have to worry about them printing all this type of money in, and you don't have to worry about also the banks making risky bets with your money. They making risky bets with your money, and guess what? Next thing you know, they lose all your money, and you don't have to worry about these banks making risk with your money and only giving you less than 1% of interest. So listen, that's a watered down version of what Bitcoin is. And that's why it was created. And Sean wishes that he was more curious about that in 2013 when Nipsey Hussle was talking about it. I know Nipsey was on it, man. I'll tell you something. Nipsey was on it. And I wish I was curious enough during that time when he was talking about it, because Sean be rich. But listen, even El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender. El Salvador, a poor country, that president is doing wonders for his people. He gave his people now a means to store, manage, and send value now. And listen, don't sleep. Don't sleep on none of this, because guess what? The US and some other countries, they're not liking Bitcoin at all. They're not liking Bitcoin at all, because guess what? They went through all this and now they're not trying to lose that control. So now you're starting to see other countries come out with their own currency. Look up the digital dollar. Okay. They want back the control. So do not sleep on it. Now, I believe also that the next big thing that everybody needs to look up is generative AI. Look up Chat GPT. Once again, Chat GPT. That is the next big thing. So look it up, and we're gonna have a future episode on that. Okay, so let's talk about now how vital curiosity is in your personal well-being. So let's talk about a personal experience of mine. At one point in my life, I was extremely unhappy with my life, and it was not because of some traumatic experience or certain event that transpired. Like, you ever have that feeling that you're much more than what you're showcasing at the moment? Like, that's how I felt, but I didn't know how to remedy that for some reason. And the best place you go to in order to get some information is Google. So I'm going on Google talking about my problems. How do I alleviate this feeling? And during a deep dive in my research and my studies, I came across this beautiful quote by Brian Tracy. The quote goes, "Lack of clarity is the primary reason." Let me say, lack of clarity is the primary reason for failure in both your business and your personal life. So I'm like, wow. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I really do lack clarity in what it is I value. What is my principles and my morals, and what do I really want to do and do with my life? I really didn't have clarity. I couldn't really answer that question. And Maslow's law, it states that the highest final need for every human being is self-actualization, which pretty much means like you need to reach your fullest potential. And I allowed this external world to drift me around all over the place instead of finding a worthy pursuit, a purpose that will fulfill me. You know what I'm saying? So I needed a more specific way and a more detailed way to understand what it is I really wanted. And I needed to think of like who the people I should be emulating. I needed to also have a system in place. I had to take on habits of successful people because listen, success always leaves clues. So follow the successful people and what they do. Now I'm gonna tell you something. It's gonna sound so crazy, but again, please listen. Please hear me out. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna be saying that every mental health issue is not real. It very much is. I'm just seeing it being politicized way too much. And now we letting pharmaceutical companies come in and try to give us a pill for everything. So listen, I feel like as humans, we're not always supposed to be happy. You're supposed to go through things. And when you go through things, you come out more resilient, you come out stronger, more confident. And that's what causes growth. So I don't believe that every human being should always be happy. It's not feasible. It's not realistic. And listen, I truly believe, listen, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist, but I truly believe a contributor, if we're labeling it mental health, is a lack of clarity in pretty much knowing what you want to do with your life. We do the same things over and over every single day, and we expect to get a different result. Like Einstein said, that's the definition of insanity, trying to do the same thing over and over. So I think this causes a lot of self doubt, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. Like, if you guys, ladies and gentlemen, like, if you were to really ask yourselves, what exactly do you want? Do you even have people that you would emulate? Are you willing to discipline yourself to incorporate their habits? Because, again, like I said earlier, success leaves clues. Are you willing to do the things today that others refuse to do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have? Or are you allowing outside circumstances to dictate your future? See, learning more about you should be the number one curiosity of yours. Not Kim Kardashian, not Cardi B, not Will Smith. It should be you. Stop playing around and do the necessary shadow work because we all need it. Okay. So, how does one become curious again? Like when we were children. I believe it's just one word. This one word will respark your life. You want to know what that one word is? Why? Why? Let's explore some whys. Why are less Americans having sex than ever before? I mean, this is according to the National of Sex and Health and Behaviors. And the ones that are having sex, why the hell is there an increase in rough sex between the ages of 18 and 29? You know, many are reporting experiencing punching and choking. See, let me take my glasses off for this one. Hold on. I gotta take my glasses off. Ladies, please tell me that ain't so. Please tell me that y'all not into getting punched. Punched? Are you serious? How do you request some shit like that? Like you want to get punched in bed. How do you request that? I would love to know that. Let me tell you something. If any one of y'all ladies talking about, yo, I need to get punched, I am leaving. You not getting no charge on me. We're not doing that. I'm not punching you. I don't care I don't care if you call your homegirl saying, girl, do you know Sean, his little sissy behind wouldn't punch me? Girl, you don't need that in your life. Move on. Find you a real man. Yo, that's what y'all into, man. No, man. Listen, after that 50 Shades of Grey movie, and turn y'all into some demons. Lord have mercy. Oh man, and the viewership on Pornhub of rough sex is popping right now. Listen, I got an episode for y'all freaky asses. Don't worry. I got an episode for that, okay? Put these glasses back on. Not crazy. Oh. Hold on. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, freaky asses. Okay, let's we getting sidetracked. Let me get back to some more whys. Why is 70% of Americans taking at least one prescription medication? Why are, like we discussed a little bit earlier, why are more people seeking mental health treatment? Why is Americans now saying that the practice of polygamy should be legal and it's morally accurate? Is it because the marriage rates have been on a decline, the traditional marriages, and based on the numbers, they just don't seem to work? What are the whys? Why is it that we care so much about what other people think of us? And I actually want that to be the very first topic of my podcast because it resonates with me. You know, they say that 80% of our thoughts are negative and 95% of our thoughts are repetitive. And examining myself, for me, it's true. It's true. Majority of my thoughts are negative. I don't know if that's a human thing or y'all could share with me if that's the case with y'all too. But before creating my podcast, you know, I battled. You know, I had a battle with my own negative thoughts. I was saying things to myself like, yo, like, you know you're gonna get scrutinized, right, Sean? You know they might not even like your content, so why even try? You know, you don't have no college degree, boy. You know what I'm saying? What you doing? Like, you don't have no college degree to show to the world that you are an intelligent person. Like, why the hell would anybody listen to you? You know, you just some goofy looking dude with, you know, some big ears. Let me tell y'all something. I never shared this with anybody. One of my biggest insecurities growing up was my love handles. Kids could be so cruel, you know. Uh, I remember a time in high school, you know, there was this one kid, he came up to me, he told me, yo, Sean, you know, whenever I'm around you, I get good ass reception with my phone, man. Like you got them big ass satellite ears, man. I love it when I'm around you. Man, this dude had every single person in my class. They all pulled out their phones and they all pulled out. They all pulled out their phones and they said, "Yeah, yeah, I do get good reception around you, Sean." Man, you know that shit hurt. Let me tell y'all something. Maybe 15 years to tell y'all this. I get to tell everybody in front of the world. Everybody in front of the world, I get to tell this now too. F all of y'all, all of y'all. Every single one of y'all that circled around me like this was some damn ritual. F every single one of y'all. That felt good. That felt kind of good, y'all. Okay. Um, I had another guy tell me, Sean, they really made soundproof walls and things soundproof because they wanted to prevent your big ass ears from listening. But I'm gonna tell y'all the one thing that hurt Sean the most. This joke. Oh my lord. I don't even know what to say this one. I'm gonna be in the comment section. Okay. This one dude told me in school, he told me, Sean, if only the movie producers had waited for you to be born, they could have got the right ears to play the role Dumbo. It should not have been the elephant. It should have been me. But why? That one hurt me to my core. I'm over here looking up pictures of Dumbo, and I'm like, you got a point. You got a point. That shit hurt. Listen, even the teacher was laughing at me, man. Like you would think a teacher's supposed to break this up, man, but she over here laughing. She probably went home to her husband. Honey, honey, you not gonna believe what one of my students told the other one. Oh man. This is trauma. See, this is the shadow work I have to work on myself. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, listen, I was losing the battle with myself starting this podcast, but listen, I had to continuously tell myself, listen, my opinions of myself, which I've known myself all my life, it needs to be favored over the opinions of other people that only gonna know me for however long this video is going to be. So listen, we're more cautious of who we let in our house more than we're cautious of who we let in our minds. And I believe that our minds, you need to take way more better care of your mind than anything else because your mind is the key to your happiness. It's the key to your freedom. And you know what? That's going to be a very interesting topic. So that's going to be the very first topic of this podcast. And I'm going to keep it light because then we're going to get into the bizarre things, but let's start off with that. So, we are going to wrap up this video. But first off, let me tell you, so the cornerstone of this podcast will be revolving around the word why. And there are going to be some tough whys that are going to be asked here on this podcast. And hopefully I do not get canceled. So let's protect the question why at all costs. So y'all ready to hear some tough whys? I hope that y'all going to stay with me with this. I might lose some of y'all, but listen. the end of the day, I serve God first and then I serve people. So we have to talk about this. Let's do this. The tough why we're about to ask is, why are we allowing biological men in women's spaces? Why was there a transgender woman who did not fully transition sent to a female prison in New Jersey and impregnated 2 other inmates? You know, why was there a transgender woman by the name of Fallon Fox, an MMA fighter, permitted to fight 6 or 7 times, and I believe broke 2 women's skulls? Why was there a male who first was named Will Thomas, who was ranked 462 in the swimming division in swimming in NCAA, later on transitioned and got eligible to go into the women's division and went straight to number 1? Ladies, I would love to know how y'all feel about this. Well, then again, not the ones that want to get punched. I hear that from y'all. But ladies, seriously, I would like to hear that from y'all. Society's gonna have a tough conversation, and whether or not we should even have sex segregated spaces, since everybody has this notion that men and women are equal. Why separate us? Let's use the same bathrooms, if we will. Should be asking that question. Okay, so all right. This wraps up the very first episode of the My Unique Curiosity Podcast. You know, I hope my message for this podcast and dispersing the curiosity bug is as intriguing to you as it is for me. You know, I hope George here would not be a problem for y'all, you know? I hope that my big ass ears won't be a problem as well. I know y'all getting a good reception. So y'all welcome whenever you watch my podcast. Listen, I can't get embarrassed from the beginning of the episode because, you know, you're not gonna know that song. I'm good. I'm safe. Okay. So only if you like this video, like it, comment. Just don't be calling me Dumbo. And you could compliment me on my singing voice. You could do that. Subscribe so you don't miss the next curiosity of mine. You can follow me on IG. It's Sean SEAN H Hill. That's once again, follow me on IG, Sean SEAN H Hill, HILL. And listen, always make sure that the word why is being asked on your part every single day. Peace.